The day that we fished with Captain Bryon Chamberlin wasn't plan A, that was actually plan B. I had originally set up to fish in Southwest Florida in 10,000 Islands. But spring had sprung. The guide that I was going to fish with took a job because we are in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic right now. So with that being a threat, we decided just to fish in my backyard. And on short notice, who can I always rely on? Well, Captain Bryon Chamberlin. That's who I always rely on. Well, back here on the Nature Coast, my backyard, and it would appear that spring has sprung. I mean, we got jackets on, but we're not going to have them on for very long.
No, just the morning run, and that'll be it.
That's about it. I mean, I don't feel the humidity yet, but you can tell that it's only a week or two away, and fish are absolutely blowing stuff up. We've had 80-degree days now for a good week and a half, and everything is waking up.
Yeah, everything's coming out of the back country and is out on the front flats, and it's going to make for a good day.
It's going to make for a really good day. This is my favorite time of year. I'm going to just throw stuff, you know, some light colored stuff, some dark colored stuff, and just let the fish tell me what they want. Because in the springtime, you know, you don't know what's on the menu. I don't know where the bait is, if there's enough bait to really get them fired up, but I'm assuming there is, because I've been fishing a lot of Pasco County and a lot of South Florida, and I haven't been fishing much here in my backyard, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, today is the day. Let's get her done.
Today is the day. I think we can pick up and run here.
All right.
Let's do it. One of the beauty marks, if you will, of the area that I like to fish along the Nature Coast is that Ozello area. It is so beautiful, yet so treacherous. Kind of like a beautiful woman with an attitude. You've got to be ready for it all the time. You're constantly looking at all the moon rock or the limestone that is protruding through the water. You've got oysters everywhere, you've got grass, you've got mangrove prop roots. I mean, there's a million hazards. This is like the British Open rough on steroids. We'll close this distance by nearly half. We'll see them. We may even see them out here. I'm just not seeing mullet right now. I see something up on the inside of that rock up there. Right here, don't move, don't move. You like that? You like that? Right on his 6 o'clock. I mean, right on his 6 o'clock. That was the closest thing to being in Southeast Louisiana you'll ever see. I swam it up to him, and once he made the left, I was like, oh, he's gonna do this. Whoa. This guy is full grown. He's over 30 inches. I got him on a circle hook. That's a circle. This is a Carolina rig that I just slid, that I was hover fishing with, like a hover bait, and all I did was slide the bullet weight down. It's a tungsten weight. He is full grown. He is full grown. Well, early on, we didn't really have much wind. The water was crystal clear, so I opted for the paddle tail with the darker color. The right stuff is what we call that color. The features of the redfish that we have up on the Nature Coast is the fact that they're not real silver white like so many of the redfish are along the west coast of Florida. Our fish are very orange or coppery. They look a lot like the fish that you catch in the marsh in Louisiana. They're shellfish eaters by and large, but they'll eat mullet, they'll eat pinfish, but being in that tannin water and all that grass, they truly are bronze bombers. Well, the weather that we had for the day of fishing with Captain Bryon was, well, it was nothing less than a perfect Chamber of Commerce day. And you know what that means? That means fishing's gonna be tough. It was a lot warmer than I ever anticipated. It was probably 10 degrees warmer than the normal average temperature for that time of year. But with Bryon on the polling platform and the eyes of an osprey and my ability to grind, I knew we'd be successful. There he is. Snook! That's what thumped me. That first time in there, he popped me. Buddy, right in the beak. Get me a big old fat trout and I'll be looking like I know what I'm doing. Right in the lip. Pretty fish. I love the way his eyes just articulate. He's looking at you, he's like, okay, what's next? There you go. Easy peasy.
So this time of year, we have a bunch of fish that are moving from the back country as the temperature warms up, and they're moving out onto the flats and the deeper cuts. And they've been pretty starved over the winter time, just feeding on crustaceans, and they're looking to meet the migrating bait fish that will come in as the water temperature warms up to put on a little bit of weight for the summertime spawn.
One of the nice things about fishing with Captain Bryon Chamberlin is he's really not from Citrus County. He lives in Pasco County. And he spends a lot of his time fly fishing Tampa Bay. But the last few winters, he has invested a lot of time in fishing Chassahowitzka and Homosassa. And since I've moved to Citrus County, I fish an awful lot of Ozello to Yankeetown. So when both of us get together, we're pretty damn dangerous. Another red fish, just a little one. Yeah. It's a pretty one. Got a lot of spots. Bingo red. This one still got milk on his mouth. Well, as productive as the morning was for Bryon and I, when we got to late morning, early afternoon, boy, did it slow down. I mean, we got to a big flat spot in the tide. I mean, it just kind of plateaued off. And that plateau killed us. So we were just grinding down the bank, just covering water at that point. When I say grind, we were grinding. Because when you don't have any horizontal water movement, back or forth, anything to cue those fish up to strike a bait, you're not catching anything. And I mean, we were hammering the water. I'll bet we beat it to a froth. And I made a bait switch. I went to a spoon where I could cover more water faster and try to generate a reaction bite. But as soon as that sea breeze turned around and that tide started to move a little bit on the next upswing of the tide, boy, did we get a bite. Here he is right here. Yeah, see him turn around?
Yeah. He's not as happy now.
Yeah, he's staying with his mullet buddies.
There we go. There we go. Right where he's supposed to be. Right in the creek mouth.
Right in the lemonade stand. Making good account of himself on this spoon. Really good account of himself.
That was a nice
There's another
one there,
red right
going
there.
in
You
the
see that
shade,
other
yeah.
red move out of that other feeder?
Yeah. I'll stay out here and maybe we'll get a shot at him too.
No shortage of redfish when the spring comes. He is bent on not letting go of this spoon. I got him tangled up in a little bit of
Little salad.
little parsley now. You always think of the darker spoons and the golds and the silvers. You rarely think about white spoons for reds. But in the springtime when there's so much bait around, white spoon's a good call. And it gives you a great shot to catch a couple of snook too. That's a chunky fish though. Super chunky fish. Loved his attitude. Off he goes.
He didn't hesitate, that's for sure.
No, he was on it. I got it in the dark spot in that creek. Couple cranks I could just see the mullet starting to come out, and then he came charging. I mean, just running it down. Tell you what, spoon, old school, but still a lure that super effective.
Old school always works.
It does. So the episode that we shot with Captain Bryon Chamberlin out of Crystal River was with a rig that I'm very familiar with. This is a rig that I borrowed from the bass guys. It's got an adjustable weight system where I can slide this little worm weight up and down the leader. It's got a circle hook in it, and this allows me to swim it over the top of that lime rock and in and out of cover, and it doesn't hang up hardly ever. Yet, if I get a little bump from a small fish, or if I do tick an oyster bar or a piece of rock, as long as I don't set the hook and I just keep reeling, it usually crawls right over the top of it. If something big enough hits it, like a redfish or a snook, well then he's automatically caught because it's on a circle hook. Now I've got this rigged on my 7-foot medium action rod. This is a Coastal Clearwater. It's one of my signature series rods out of Falcon. I've got a Shimano Curado, and I've got 20-pound braid on this so that I can make a nice smooth cast. My leader material is 30 pounds because there's the likelihood of catching snook in this zone. Later on, when the light was getting a little bit lower and we had fish that were more spread out because the tide was getting significantly higher, I went to my spinning rod. Now this is a 7-foot medium action spinning rod, same series, the Falcon Coastal Clearwater, and I've got 10-pound Suffix 832 on this particular rod. So it allows for a long cast. I'm using the Shimano's 3000, this is the Stratic, and I've got my faithful white spoon, and you can see that I've put a swivel on it to reduce line twist. So this setup here was perfect for blind casting and covering more water, especially when the water was a lot higher. It was the perfect 1-2 punch, if you will, to get the maximum effectiveness out of the zone that we were fishing throughout the day. I hope this little tip really does put a few more fish in your boat the next time you're fishing the Nature Coast. Good predator spot. Some people still don't know that I have moved to Citrus County, and I live probably about 20 minutes north of Crystal River. And boy, do I love this area. And running down that river, and you guys saw it in this episode, it is so diverse, it's so pretty. It's a natural river, and you've got all these little palm and pine hammocks along the sawgrass. It's beautiful. I mean, and it's unspoiled, and most of it is protected where there can never be any development. And I have to pinch myself because I love living here and I love fishing here. Oh boy. Trying to see which direction he's running, because the smart thing to do here would be to pull it in the same direction it's going. Yeah, that's why I don't want to pull hard. I think I see the spoon. Nice fish. Real nice fish. That white spoon catches a slam. I'm gonna say it's because I put the awesome sauce on it. Dressed it out a little bit. Yeah, he's a chunk. He's slot for sure. All right, buddy. Chunk. Chunkosaurus right there, my friend. A lot of folks don't know how good the snook fishery is from Pasco County north, going all the way basically to Levy County. I mean, you're talking from Hudson, Florida, all the way up to probably Yankeetown and beyond. There are a lot of snook that are in those zones, and they're protected by all that spring water. There's places where they can get into deeper rivers and insulating depth and hang around those springs. And we can catch a ton of snook, especially in the spring. And I catch them on everything, hard baits, soft plastics, spoons, you name it. I mean, these fish, when they come out, when spring is sprung, they are vicious strikers. Spring is sprung when we're catching these on spoons. It really has. Did a good job. Bryon and I are kind of the same type of guide, where we push pole about 99% of the time. That's what we prefer to do. And it's more about sight fishing. I mean, we're both huge into sight fishing. Smith Optics, we're both Smith Optics guys looking for fish. And typically when we are fishing together, it's more of a game of being a sniper, where we're picking one fish at a time and we're not, machine gunning down a bank like I was in this particular episode. So it's nice to do that style of fishing, and him and I both agree that that old way and traditional way of flats fishing still is the best. There he is. Railed it twice.
Nice. Decent fish?
Good fish. Ran it down. You want the power pole?
Hey, that makes my life easy. Go for it. Nice.
All right. Good fish too.
Got a nice little blue tail to him.
Yeah, he's got some great color.
All the fish we've been catching are orangey red.
That one was set up on that little point of moon rock there. Little point of moon rock. Trying to keep him from going back to the back of the boat. Here he comes around the front. Whoa, under the bow. He is orange.
He ingested that spoon.
He hammered it, did he not?
Nice.
That is a beautiful redfish. Gorgeous. We worked hard for that one this afternoon. That slow tide, it's two or three things. It's either you go fast and hard with a spoon, you can't finesse them at all. Or you gotta fish super slow and sight fish. Well, Bryon Chamberlin, once again, he was my safety shoot guy and got me through another great episode. Even on one of the tougher tides and in and out clouds, when you've got a guy of that quality type of guide that will push pole you in and out of the wind and into the tide and sees everything, well, that's a difference maker. And we caught probably a dozen fish today. In my opinion, there's no better fishing trip or fishing show than one that you can say you're fishing with a true friend. And having Bryon Chamberlin on the back of my skiff is a big, big bonus.